I have nothing but the deepest respect for women. I'm a husband. I'm a father. There are only 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and book drama. This time we have another case of authors acting foolish on the internet, but what else is new? Basically, on January 23rd, there was a series of emails that got sent to a bunch of book influencers, mainly on Book Talk, and all of them were women. So you can start to see where this is gonna go. This was part of a mailing list that came from a PR firm that he co-founded. And in this email, he offered to pay reviewers who promote his book with suggestions for what types of videos these could be, including a couple of risque videos where one might pose nude or cover certain parts of the body in a very suggestive way. Obviously, these book reviewers were like, "Ew, get away from me," and they posted about this online, which resulted in him following up with a second email claiming that he didn't know that this email was being sent from his account and that it was the responsibility of his PR firm. Never mind the fact that he co-founded the PR firm, and now his agent has dropped him from their client list. I just have to assume that most of us have common sense and I don't have to over-explain why this is not a good look. So hopefully this will be a pretty straightforward video. I'm gonna go ahead and read the email that was sent, the content that was suggested in the email, and the apology that he posted on Twitter. But first, I'm gonna provide context for who J.D. Barker is in the first place. And this is just to show that this wasn't like a random amateur writer, but an actual established author who really should have known better. J.D. Barker is a New York Times and international best-selling author. He has his own Wikipedia page. His debut novel was a finalist for the Bram Stoker Award back in 2014, and his work is suspense thrillers. And what's more thrilling than having a creepy ass email in your inbox? Not only has he written numerous novels, his books have also been translated into 24 languages and sold in more than 150 countries, while being optioned for both film and television, including the book that we're going to talk about in this video. He's also collaborated with James Patterson 3 times, and all 3 of those books have become bestsellers. But the book that we're going to be talking about is the one that he is trying to promote, coming out in May of this year, called Behind a Closed Door. This is an erotic thriller where in this book's universe there is an app called Sugar and Spice, and this is the latest popular trend that has taken over the world. The main characters are a couple. This couple downloads the game and essentially they have to follow a series of very taboo tasks, but things start to escalate even further and this could be like a matter of life or death. The synopsis kind of reminds me of that one Black Mirror episode called Shut Up and Dance, or the movie starring Emma Roberts called Nerve. So I can see how this might be an appealing book to people, especially since it was also optioned by a production company called QC Entertainment. They were the same production company that made BlacKkKlansman and Get Out. They bought the rights for this book before it even became published in a preemptive bid, so they planned to adapt it into a film. So with all these great things going on, I'm not sure why he or his PR firm felt the need to send such an unprofessional email to a bunch of book talkers when clearly he's already set up for success. My guess would be that maybe he and his team saw how much of an impact Book Talk has made for the publishing industry. By the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Book Talk is a sub-community within TikTok that talks about books. And they have been a huge way to promote books. They have launched a lot of people's careers in writing. And if your book is popular on Book Talk, it pretty much pushes you to be the #1 bestseller, especially when it comes to spicy book talk, which is another subgenre where these creators talk about specifically erotica-leaning romance novels. This is a very popular subgenre, and I can see how, as someone who's pushing out an erotic thriller, maybe he wanted to bridge that gap between his erotic components of the book with this demographic that loves erotic content. However, a lot of times the videos that you do see on Spicy Book Talk are things like listing your favorite tropes in that genre, sharing quotes from books that you like, or fan art, or different images to show the book's aesthetic. A lot of the viral videos that are on Spicy Book Talk are just people showing their facial reactions to a quote in a book. It's really not that crazy, which is why to me this brings up red flags that whoever sent this email doesn't actually know the platform that they're trying to target, because to just ask for spicy videos from these women is a very surface level understanding of how it works. So if this was his PR firm, they have not done their job at all, which is like the first step is to research whatever it is you're tapping into. I work in advertising, and when I read this email, I was like, no legitimate PR firm would actually write this, because this is amateur hour. So before I read the email out loud to you, I want to give you a normal example of how an influencer could advertise a product using their bodies. And that's thanks to today's sponsor. Cue the clip. Before we dive into into the video, I want to say thank you to today's sponsor, Proven Skincare. I've always been really bad at keeping up with skincare, pretty much because of laziness. Like, I hate the trial and error process. But this year is my first time experiencing New York winter, and my weak California body has been dry and crusty. So what I've been trying out is Proven's 3-step skincare system because I need things to be as simple as possible. All I had to do was take a skin genome quiz, which took me about 3 minutes, and they assessed my skin concerns and even my location because that affects your skin too, like the humidity in the air or the UV strain. So they combined all these factors and created a custom formula in the form of 3 products. I got a cleaner, a daytime moisturizer with sunscreen, and a nighttime moisturizer. One of my main issues is that my forehead would always get really dry and flaky throughout the day, but after using this for about a week, my forehead has definitely felt more moisturized and I haven't dealt with flakiness. So I'm excited to keep up the progress and see how it goes, but I'm most excited to not spend a bunch of money on like a million products and just stick to 3. If you're interested in trying it out, you can click the link in my description below. You can get your first personalized Proven system with a 50% off discount, which would make it $99 for a limited time. And now let's dive into the rest of the video. I'm gonna go ahead and read out loud the full email that was sent. JD Barker is back with his best novel yet, and he wants to pay you to promote it. Behind a Closed Door, soon to be a major motion picture. 50 Shades meets David Fincher's The Game. Would you kill a total stranger to save someone you love? About the book. Sugar and Spice is the latest app craze taking the world by storm, but for Abby and Brendan Hollander, downloading it leads to a dangerous game of life and death. When the app assigns them a series of increasingly taboo tasks, they soon find themselves caught up in a twisted web of seduction and violence in the sexually charged dark thriller from the New York Times bestseller of The Fourth Monkey, master of suspense JD Barker. As one of the founders of Best of Book Talk, New York Times and international best-selling author JD Barker regularly thinks outside the box. All right, hold on. I gotta pause right here to say this PR firm is called Best of Book Talk. This is how I know that this is not a legit PR firm, because how is it that you can name yourself Best of Book Talk but mess up so badly with not understanding how Book Talk actually works? Apparently this author thinks outside the box because he's trying to find videos of you showing your box. In this email, it pretty much gives credit to JD Barker for coming with this idea because it says JD Barker regularly thinks outside the box, not only while writing but when it comes to advertising. While some authors have found limited success promoting their own titles on platforms such as TikTok and Instagram, he knows people like you, the influencers, are far better at creating content and captivating the social media audience than he ever could be. He also understands how much work goes into those videos, and he wants to be sure you are fairly compensated. That in mind, he's developed the following pay scale based on total followers. Note that this email literally says that he developed this pay scale. He did. Basically, you get paid a certain amount depending on how many followers you have. So 3,000 to 5,000 followers will get $100. 100,000 to 150,000 gets a little over $1,000. Let's see where I'm at, because I have over 500k subscribers on YouTube. That means I would get $2,000. But the highest rate on this list is $2,400 if you have over 700k followers. How will this work? You can either request a copy of Behind a Closed Door from here in this link, or an ebook via NetGalley. A copy of the book will be shipped to you within 5 business days. If you enjoy the book, create a video and submit a link here before going live with it on your platform. Barker will personally review each video and either approve it, triggering payment, or offer suggestions to get it approved. Once approved, you're free to post. Again, another line that implicates him to this email. He apparently is personally reviewing every single video here, which not only shows the kind of free time that he must have, but also surely he must have known about this, because otherwise why would you be reviewing every single video? Now this is where we get to the questionable part. This book is spicy. Here are a few video ideas currently in the works by other influencers. Again, interrupting here to say I call BS that other influencers are working on this, but we'll talk about it later. Here are the suggestions. Text. What kind of person do you think I am? Sugar or spice? Video. A playful image while the word sugar is on the screen. Then a fast cut to something racy when the word spice appears. Music. Your choice. Text. Who doesn't like to relax with a good book? Video. A camera pan up or down the body using only the book to cover up your naughty bits. Music, your choice. Text. Where is the most taboo place you've ever had sex? Video. Focus the camera on influencer for 10 to 15 seconds, holding the book or pointing at a digital image of the book. Then quick flash to their taboo place for a half second. Music, your choice. First of all, I think I should be compensated just for reading out loud these shitty ideas, because I basically just gave you your promo right here. Second of all, I like that he has such prescriptive suggestions for how you should write your text or film your video or how long the video should be. But when it comes to the music, it's always your choice. He really learned from Resand. I just really appreciate when men solicit provocative content from women and they make sure to give that woman a degree of their own agency while that woman is pimping out his product with her own body. It's just those little things that truly show allyship. These are just suggestions. You're welcome to use them for your video or come up with something on your own. Half the fun of something like this is to let creativity rule. The content of the video is entirely up to you. As long as promoting behind a closed door, it will be eligible. So get creative. Questions? No problem. Just shoot me an email. Best of luck, Julia. This offends me on so many levels. First of all, why didn't I receive this email? Hello, I am a woman in the book community, and clearly you only emailed this to women. There has been no male content creator that has spoken up saying that he received an email like this. So why didn't I get the memo? But maybe it's for the best, because offense number 2, this is not only inappropriate, it's also cheap as fuck. What do you mean you'll pay $100 for someone to show their body and cover their naughty bits with your book? You're gonna have to pay way more than that if you're asking for this shit. Like I said, amateur hour. Especially because for a lot of these influencers, they can get paid way more than that and still have their clothes on. I'm not against sex work. I think people should go ahead and get their coin, but to offer this kind of email to a whole bunch of people who never really showed any indication that they're willing to do this kind of content is very disrespectful and unnecessarily sexualizes this person by assuming that they're willing to do anything for $100. Especially when this email does nothing to check how old these people are when they're emailing these influencers. It doesn't say that if you're under 18, you can't participate in this campaign. It doesn't give you a form to verify your age. And based on how unprofessionally this email was written, I'm pretty sure they didn't even do their due diligence to make sure that these creators are over 18. The email also has a very weird approval process where you can submit a video of you possibly doing this suggestive content, but if it doesn't get approved, then you won't get paid. But at the same time, you don't know what happens to the video that you just submitted. So what would this author or this PR firm do with all these videos that don't get paid? Does it get stored somewhere? Does it get removed from the system? If it does get removed, how do we know that it will be removed? Again, there is no legal disclaimer or any kind of professional clauses that are listed in this email. And again, these are just suggestions, and this is something that will be like a defense that the author will try to pull, especially in the underlying sentence that says the content of the video is entirely up to you. However, if it really was a free-for-all, why would you even suggest all this racy content ideas anyway? And why would you suggest only the provocative ideas? The fact that there were even suggestions and those suggestions were exclusively provocative content pretty much implies that if you don't send something that is racy or provocative, then you're not going to get paid for the work that you're doing. It's called subtext, you know, something that writers usually are aware of. So after women on Book Talk posted about this and said that this was fucking weird, the author sent a follow-up email 2 days later. The message you received from my account was not issued by me, nor was it approved by me. It was sent by one of the many PR firms I hired to promote my latest title. We are working with influencers on multiple social media campaigns, and while some of those influencers have suggested racier posts to tie in with the theme of the book, that is not the heart of the campaign. The individual who edited this message chose to include these racier suggestions while editing out the others. Again, that was not the intent of the campaign. Had I seen this message before it went out, I would have stopped it. Ultimately, this is on me. I should not have allowed an outside firm access to my email account. That has been corrected. I apologize for any inconvenience this may have caused you. I call BS on this whole thing. Again, the PR firm that he's talking about, Best of Book Talk, which is a shitty name for a PR firm, by the way, that PR firm is co-owned by the author himself. So what do you mean you didn't know anything about this? Especially when there are so many lines in the email giving him credit for this ambitious idea for a campaign and also saying that he would personally review all the content. Again, as someone who works in advertising, even if this was just a shitty idea that was never meant to be executed, that sort of idea would have never made its way into an email draft in the first place. There would have been meetings to present the concept first. There would have been a spreadsheet for who to contact in this campaign. There are a bunch of steps that would have happened before an email like that would have even been typed up. So how is it that it accidentally made its way from the author's email account and got sent like this? Especially when his message says some of these influencers have suggested racier posts to tie in with the theme of the book. Okay, so that means the concept was approved then, because how else did it get out? If this is a legit PR firm, then it must have been approved if you got to the point that you were emailing influencers and actively working with them to the point where they would suggest this racy content. So you're saying that there are these other influencers who have suggested this racier post. Who are these influencers? Where are they? Because I haven't seen any post from an influencer working with you in this book, and I especially have not seen any racy content that apparently there was communication about. And speaking of imaginary people, in the original email, it signs off with Julia. My question is, does this Julia person exist? If it was truly the fault of his PR firm that mishandled this, how come we don't see any employee named Julia anywhere belonging to this firm? Because I'm not seeing her profile on LinkedIn. I'm not seeing her connected with that firm on any website. I don't see Miss Julia anywhere. He says I should not have allowed an outside firm access to my email account. That has been corrected. Corrected how? Did you remove access from the firm that you co-founded? Did you fire anyone? What happened to Miss Julia? Again, if this truly happened within a PR firm, there would have been an investigation to figure out why this was mishandled so unprofessionally. But there doesn't seem to be any indication of that because this all sounds made up as fuck. You're essentially kind of apologizing, but really just trying to shift the blame and responsibility onto this imaginary shitty PR firm and these imaginary influencers who had suggested this content, because surely it was a bunch of women on the internet that suggested to do these things rather than a 53-year-old man who doesn't know anything about the internet. He also issued a similar statement on Twitter. On January 23rd, an email went out on my behalf to known book talk influencers without consideration of age or gender from a company I own, detailing the framework of a social media marketing campaign meant to promote my upcoming novel Behind a Closed Door, an erotic thriller set to release later this year. Hold up, no consideration of gender? Oh, I do believe gender was considered because of the fact that the only people who were sent this email were women. So I don't think the lack of consideration for gender was the problem here. I think you might have considered it a little bit too much. The email details several video ideas that were in keeping with events that occur in the book, a work of fiction. Those ideas were followed by, these are just suggestions. You're welcome to use them for your video or come up with something on your own. Half the fun of something like this is to let creativity roll. Blah, 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 blah. So conveniently, he leaves out the suggestions, but he does pull that little disclaimer that it truly is a free-for-all and you don't have to do this. For an apology that's supposed to point out how wrong this action was, it actually seems to try to justify the action by showing not the right thing that you're supposed to show. This campaign was never approved. The email wasn't meant to go out without a substantial rewrite, but through a chain of errors, it did. Again, if it was supposed to have a substantial rewrite, it would have never been in the drafts for your email in the first place. It would have been in a Google Doc. No PR firm would just write a draft in an email where it could be accidentally sent out. I take full responsibility for that. I'm horrified such a message was released, and I deeply regret the hurt I've caused to those who received it. I have nothing but respect for the writing community and the people who champion it, and I've let all of you down. I have nothing but the deepest respect for women. I'm a husband. I'm a father. There is no excuse for the insensitivity demonstrated by my actions. The weight created by those actions is inexcusable. I can and will do better. If there is no excuse, why does this whole apology read like an excuse? And if your explanation for why you have respect for women is because you happen to be a husband and father, how come you didn't consider what would it be like if your daughter received an email like this? And why do you assume that just because someone is a husband and father means that they automatically have respect for women? The written word is something I cherish. Words have a power, and sometimes they can hurt more than the most dangerous weapon. Knowing I've wielded that weapon and injured is something that will weigh on me for the remainder of my days. If you were impacted by this, I am truly sorry. You spent all of that time writing this long ass tweet when really all you could have just said was, I'm sorry, but I didn't do it. It was somebody else who did it. It was Julia. Who's Julia, you ask? She's obviously a very real woman. You just haven't met her yet. She's from Canada. Anyway, because this was mishandled, the author has now been dropped by his agent, who is Alex Shane of Writer's House. Shane released a statement that says, I no longer represent JD Barker and am upset and saddened by what has transpired. And that is pretty much the story as of filming this video. I don't know if the publishing house will drop him or not, but honestly, I feel like even if if the agent or the publishing house did drop him. I'm not sure if he will actually deal with any consequence. I feel like it's gonna be very easy for him to still publish or work with someone else anyway. I know we saw consequences happen for Kate Corain, but I think the difference is that she wasn't a published author yet, whereas J.D. Barker is a well-established one. I think his books are gonna be fine. And there's also a whole world out there that doesn't know a lot of what happens on the internet. And honestly, I think even if his demographic did learn about the controversy, I don't know if they would even care. When I was looking up articles about this, I found this one comment on the Washington Post who said, "This is ridiculous. So he made a stupid mistake. Someone actually severed ties with him over it. The fake outrage machine is out of control." So obviously, people of his demographic are not gonna give a shit. They're gonna still read his books. Like, I really think the dude is gonna be fine. If there's any benefit from this, I hope that maybe this will discourage other authors from doing similar things after seeing what has happened, because unfortunately there are a lot of people out there who don't understand boundaries. When you're a woman on the internet, you're gonna get inappropriate solicitations no matter what. Like literally last week, I got a creepy email as well, and this is just like another day that ends with Y for me. I'll go ahead and read out loud my email to you just to show that this is a thing that happens like constantly. The email subject title was called Cindy ... Again, these people with the ellipses, dude. I'm actually, at this very moment, watching your reaction to the movie To All the Boys I've Loved Before, P.S. I Still Love You. To start, I want to compliment how open you are about your vagina's engagement status. Lockdown status leads me to assume that means big bush. LOL. Don't worry, I'm pretty bushy myself. I just realized that I am talking about our crotch regions and you don't even know who I am. Well, you'll be happy to know that who I am is very well documented on the internet. My name is, and then I'm gonna censor it because I'm a good person and I try not to dox people, even though sometimes maybe doxing is justified, but whatever. Go ahead, Google it. Now, Cindy, if you looked into who I am, you know that I'm a few different things. Computer nerd, business executive, romantic, and a performer all rolled into one. You might think I'm hot in a quirky way. You may think I'm hideous, or you may not even be attracted to men. Maybe you're attracted to women. Heck, you may be like Anna Kendrick and have a thing for sex dolls. LOL. You only understand that statement if you've watched the movie Dummy. Either way, Cindy, I hope I hear back from you. Heck, I hope we have a conversation and talk about movies or TV shows. Perhaps there are subjects you've yet to find someone to talk about because of how weird they are. Yes, this is something I struggle with constantly. It is so hard to find people who will talk about very weird topics that no one ever talks about, like movies and TV shows. Either way, Cindy, right back. I know there are many conflicting opinions battling each other in your mind right now. Many people have told me that looking into me on the internet has caused them to hallucinate. I can't tell what your reaction will be, so I'll wait to hear back from you. Unfortunately, I did Google this person since he insisted upon it, and I saw many things, including a picture of him wearing a fedora, his LinkedIn profile saying that he is a business executive for some flop of a business like so many self-called entrepreneurs often do, and his latest Instagram post also said that he was pro-Trump, pro-life, pro-gun, believes that there are only two genders, and all lives matter. So clearly he was barking up the wrong tree, but again, this just goes to show you, when you are a woman on the internet, you are constantly bombarded with weird or stupid shit like this. This is why men should be banned from sending unsolicited emails. But honestly, it doesn't even apply to men either, because I've gotten stupid shit from way other people. The lesson should be, if your email is in the form of an essay, you should think to yourself, is this person getting paid to spend their precious time to read my useless drivel? And if this person is not getting paid for that mental labor, then perhaps you should backspace and leave them the fuck alone. Actually, I wish I was getting paid every time I was solicited or asked for attention by these losers, because at that point, I could have been retired by now. In conclusion, y'all better cut this shit out, and before you send anything, try to think. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind? I guarantee you it is not. I'm gonna go wash my eyeballs out now, but I hope that this video was entertaining or informative for you. I will see you next time for the next foolishness. Goodbye.
I got fire in my eyes. You wanna see the light? This ain't an ordinary life. Not when you're up